In this series, we're going to use a technique called match photo to take an existing photograph and model from it. Now, there's already an example of how to model this using a piece of furniture, but this is also a great technique when you're doing exterior buildings. So here you can take a look. We have this building here, and to get started, what you want to do is photograph every corner as well as a straight-on shot, or as straight on as possible. And the reason for that is we're going to use the corners to set up the perspective, but then we're going to use the straight-on shots as our textures. That way they're a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to manage. So anytime I use this technique, I always try to take a corner and a straight-on shot within any sort of building here. So there are ways that you can clean up the textures in Photoshop, as well as there's ways that you can just quickly crop them in SketchUp. And I'll show you both throughout this series. To get started, we're going to begin with this first image, and we're just going to go to File, Import, start a new file in SketchUp here. We're going to select the image, but we're going to make sure that we have Use as all supported image types as our format. And more importantly, we don't want to import this as an image, but we want to import it as new match photo. We'll select our image and then click Import. Now when you open up an image using Photo Match or Match Photo, you're going to see the tool palette here as well, which we'll just hide for a second. And you get this screen or this interface. So the origin point here is this yellow square. You have the red vanishing point, and over here hiding is the green vanishing point. The yellow line is the horizon line, and these perspective bars help align us to the perspective or to the vanishing point. So in doing so, you always want to begin by moving the origin point to the foreground corner, and then I can zoom in, and you want to move the perspective bars. You don't want to move the horizon line, and you don't want to move the vanishing point. Instead, as if you're going to hand trace this to figure out where the vanishing points were, you want to match up elements that you know are parallel to each other. So I'm just looking for cues within the facade that I know are parallel. So I know the windowsill is parallel to the cornice. Same thing here. So I wouldn't want to use necessarily the ground plane because that's sloping, but I can use this kind of cap here, or I can use the sill up top here. And don't worry, see how the horizon line and the green axis is all still askew? It's going to look off until you have all 4 perspective bars set. And you don't have to zoom in here and get it perfect. There is room for flexibility or room for error here, so you don't have to get it perfect. What you do want to look at though is just make sure when you're done that the blue line is on the curve here and that your axis is set up. Once you have the perspective set up, in the Photo Match palette you can go ahead and click Done, or anywhere on the model you can right click and press Done. So this is a way that we can set this up if we don't have Google Earth imagery, or if we're not modeling from anything existing. You can actually begin drawing right from here. And I'll show that in the next video, but then I'll also show you another way in which you can actually bring the image in first and draw from the Google Earth imagery. That way you have a building reference or building scale to pull from. For more videos in this series, as well as live and online SketchUp training, visit SketchUpTrainer.com. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel, as well as follow me on Twitter.